Jude, do the welcome after the song. After the song. Welcome to Blaze. If you can stand and worship. Search the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise, the treasures that fade. Then you came along and you put me back together, and every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all. You still call me friend, 'cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Lord, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. Turn bones into orphans. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. stones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can.
Welcome to AblazeYouth. How's everybody's week going? Good. If you're joining us online, thank you. This is our first week of our new norm, as Pastor Gary won't be doing the services every week now. But this week we have a very special speaker, Nathan.
Hello.
And Nathan did something special over the weekend. He was our first baby that visited a school. Nate, you want to tell us about that?
So, I wasn't planning on speaking about this until the sermon, but this week I visited SEU College in Lakeland, Florida, and I had a really great time. And I already made my decision that I wanted to go there, but I just wanted to check out the campus. And hopefully I'll be getting my acceptance letter within the next week or two. And then I'm visiting again on the 12th for the SEU conference.
And what's so special about this is today's service is about his degree that he's going for worship.
Not really. It's about
What
the
are you
voice of
going
God.
for?
Oh, I'm going for worship, but it's about the voice of God.
So thank you for joining us online. Nate, you have another song?
Yes, just one more. Hide me now under your wings. Cover me within your mighty hand. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still, know you are God. Rest my soul in Christ alone. Know his power in quietness, trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still, know you are God. Rest my soul in Christ alone. Know his power in quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still, know you are God. I will soar with you above the storm. Dear God, thank you for this day. I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak. I want to pray for me as I give today's sermon. That the words that I've prepared can resonate and help everyone in this room about the voice of God and to answer his call when he calls. I pray for Gary as he's also going through a time of difference. And that everyone in this room understands what Gary's chosen to do. And that while we have a new wave of different speakers throughout the weeks, we still listen to them with an open heart, like we did with Gary. Amen. So we actually had a video to play. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. So actually, if we could pull that up real quick, you could just pull it on YouTube and bring it here, can you? Voice of God, Dante Poe. Dante Poe. Yeah. But in the meantime, how was your week? It was good. Oh yeah, but I want to ask them that. It's been a fun week. How was school on Friday? Because I got to miss that. Anything eventful happen? No? Same thing. I just skipped all of school. But I hope everything's going good for you, because we did just start this new quarter, new semester.
Sometimes life doesn't happen the way you plan. And sometimes your plans change.
Something like that.
But one thing is constant,
'cause
and that is your
semester
drive
got
to
2 weeks,
achieve.
So we had to start a new quarter semester 2 weeks late. And then we got to finish school 2 weeks late. But none of that. How have all of you adapted to your new classes? None of y'all changed your classes when you got a new semester? Am I the only one that got new classes? Thank you. Yeah, you, obviously. I finally have a first period now, so that really does not feel fun at all. I used to get to sleep in and get an A for it. It was an amazing class. Called Executive Internship. It was actually really fun. Yeah. Woke up late every day. Showed up to school late every day. Got an A every day. And then I showed up to second period, and that was economy and U.S. government, which was also a very easy class with a very easy teacher. So I love that. But now I have English 4 with Miss Spags. Yeah. And I'm happy, though, because now I'm learning steel drums in my second period, and it's a blast. Taylor's in that class. Yeah, I called her out. It's been fun. She can't seem to get away from the bass, so she went from bass here to playing bass. But it's not a string guitar, it's a steel drum. Yeah, I just processed that. I could have played tenor. I should. But there's a lot of time of change. We have a new president. That's really weird. Nonetheless, of what your political views are of that, it's just a different change for the entire country every 4 or 8 years, depends on how it goes. But it's nice that all of us as Christians stay the same. Hopefully, we stay the same in these times of change and trust in God, no matter what. We're still in this pandemic. It's very stressful for all of us. We're still wearing masks, which is not fun and how we intended to enter 2021 with. But we trusted God, so we're still going to wear them. Most of us wear them. And because we care for one another, we continue to wear them, and because God said so. And I think I'm just going to start speaking about my sermon. Oh, no, we almost got it? Okay. I'm so sorry about this. But it's actually a really impactful song. Yeah, I'm basically stalling. It's a really impactful song that goes with this sermon. It's about the voice of God and how it's in every single little thing in our life. And even in bad things that happen, it could still be in there. Like there's a few lines in there where it's the final breath of a loved one passing, because it's a beautiful thing because it brings you to the light. And now we're going to play the video.
I can hear it in the crackle of a bonfire, and I can hear it in the middle of the ocean water. Oh, I just can't explain, but it makes me wanna cry. And I can hear it when the rain falls on my windowsill, on a playground where children's laughter lives. Oh, I can't explain, but it makes me wanna cry. And I can hear it in the busy New York City streets, and I can hear it in the country Georgia fields of green. Oh, I can't explain, no, but it makes me wanna cry. Sounds like grandmama telling you where you come from. Said it's kinda like laughter out of the mouths of your loved ones, or catching up with an old friend, reminiscing on back when. It's like a summertime sprinkler, street side with my ice cream cone. Said it sounds like a choir singing hymns, hallelujah. It's the voice of God. Hell, it can make a grown man cry. And I can hear it on the wind of an early morning, when the fog is getting thick and the birds are chirping. Oh, it's just something I can't explain, no, but it makes me wanna cry. And I can hear it in the hush of a midnight hour, when I'm alone in my room if I'm going under. Oh, I just can't explain, no, but it brings me back to life. It's like the sound of a newborn baby crying, yeah, like the final breath of a loved one passing. Oh, it's a beautiful thing, yeah, 'cause it leads me to the light. It's like a drive-through movie, small town with the big screen, like grilling out in the front yard. Sometimes it's the simple things, like storytelling with my grandpa. He was so easy to believe, like when the sun goes up, yeah. Sometimes it's better when the sun comes down, 'cause there's just something about the moonlight, and it can make you feel alright. Oh, it's the voice of God, and it can make a grown man cry. Yes, it can, yes, it can. It's the voice of God. It can make a grown man cry.
So, that is something that I found like a month or two ago, and that is about when Gary told me, hey, you want to do a sermon? And I was like, let's do it on the voice of God. So I named it When God Calls. And it's basically when God speaks to us and the different ways he speaks to us, to respond to them in proper ways. And it's kind of cliche for this, but I do have the 4 points. But we're going to go through them as seamlessly as possible. So I want to begin with, God desires to speak to you more than you desire to hear from him. God speaks in an audible voice with the intention to make you listen. But because it hasn't happened to us, it does not really give us, I guess, the right to be so prideful to think that because it hasn't happened to us, it does not mean that God doesn't speak at all. God speaks to us every day, yet we choose not to listen. And even if he doesn't, there's kind of a curse word within the Christian group, and it describes God in, I think, the most proper way possible as well. It is sovereign. It's such an unexplainable title to give, but God is sovereign, and he does what he wants to do when he wants to do it. And that's no pretty language to hear in 2021, because we want everything to make perfect sense and have a reason. But God says, I don't care, I'm sovereign. God says, you can want it all, but I don't got to do all that, you know? This is why I believe that God still speaks in an audible voice, just like he did in the past, because in Hebrews 13:8, Jesus says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever, which is extremely true, because in the past he was loving and sovereign, and did what he wanted to for the glory of God when he wanted to do it at the right times. It's like video games and coding. A lot of people in here play video games, so you would understand. Say you go into a mission, right? And a second you walk into here, that triggers the next event that happens. God has everything planned out just like a video game coder does, where you will walk into a room and this will happen and all that. So when God is sovereign, it is for a reason. And that's just what happens. And God's voice is basically your conscience that speaks to you, but with words that you don't think on a normal basis. Like, none of you drive. Like, if you're driving and you kind of have this, and you're just, a lot of times when you're alone in your car, you have thoughts that affect your life in another way. You're going through a tough decision. Do I want to take this job? Do I want to quit my job and all that? And sometimes there's that random thought. Like, about a year ago. Yeah, a year. I was driving, and it was the first time I ever heard of SEU. And I wasn't even thinking about going to SEU. My mind was set on going to Hillsong College in Phoenix, Arizona. And I chose Phoenix, Arizona because Sydney, Australia was too expensive for my mother. Yes. But I was dead set on that for the longest time. And I had this thought in my head, go to SEU. And I never thought, hey, let's go to SEU. That'd be a great idea. But I started looking into it, and here I am now, just doing my last visit on Friday, and we snuck back onto campus yesterday morning. I will not lie to you. But we were just looking around, and we came back last night, and instantly I did it in the hotel right after the first visit. I scheduled my next visit for February 12th for the SEU conference. But it was just a thought in my mind that I would never expect myself to think. And I kind of think that's the voice of God. God speaking in a form of your own conscience. So you think it, but God put that in your mind. So like a lot of times we can hear those things and we don't respond to it in the proper way. We just ignore it. And that's why it kind of proves that God speaks to you more than you desire to hear from him, because he will speak to us on a constant basis. But if we don't listen, because there's a difference between hearing and listen. Because your mother, you've all experienced it. You're in the car with your mother, and she's yelling at you about something really dumb in your opinion. You can hear it, but none of you truly care. You're just hearing it, but you're not listening, and we're like that to God, because Jesus did not die for you to not speak with you, and you shouldn't let a lack of these miracles of God speaking to you control how you perceive the power and strength of God, because miracles were made for non-believers. They were not made for the everyday Christian. Gary, for instance, was not a Christian how many years ago? About 9 years ago, he was not a Christian. And he said he had a miracle in his home where he felt it shaking and God speaking to him verbally. And that was a miracle for a non-believer. And have you had any other miracles since you actually gave in? These miracles that God, he said no, by the way, for online people not looking. But these miracles by God are designed for the non-believers. You will never see something in the Bible where God performs a miracle for someone that does not believe. And there's many proof in that. If there's something in the Bible with someone already firmly believing in him, there's no miracle related to that. But there's always a miracle with non-believers. And God, like with Gary in his case, he was down. He was what he says would be one of the lowest points of his life. He couldn't pay his bills. He couldn't do any of that. He drank alcohol a lot. And so really God's voice speaks in speechless moments. Which is my second point. So, see what I mean by trying to make it seamless? But in the song it says, the final breath of a loved one passing, the sound of a newborn baby crying is a wonderful thing that can make a grown man cry, and it can bring you to the light. We need to not be that grown man to cry, or grown woman to cry. We have those. But we need to become a child with God. Because when we were little children, our grandparents used to tell us wild stories that made no sense now that we're older. But we believed every single word that they said. Am I wrong? We believed every word as fact. With no doubt behind it. And that is why we need to start becoming younger with Christ, being a child, because a matured humanity begs for an adolescent faith. The older we get, the more mature we get as a human being. There's a point where we learn we need to become a child when it comes to God. We've been told to have these childlike faiths and with childlike prayers. Gary said that before, because it is true. We are a child to God. In comparison to God, we are children. And we don't need to believe all these crazy things that we're told. Like, you need to be more mature. Yes, we need to be more mature as a human being. Pay your bills, do your schoolwork, try to get a good job. But when it comes to being a Christian, you need to be a child. We need to believe in what God says to us without any doubt, just like we believe the words that the elders in our lives said to us. Because if you were called to do something by our elders, we would do it. But many of us won't respond to a call from God. So really, it's time to respond to God's call. And when God speaks to us audibly or through a vision, which is the version that most of us experience the least, a vision, when you're in your sleep, just dreaming about something, just like that. But the most common one would be our conscious. That's the most common voice of God. And none of us listen to it because it sounds like the weird things we say to ourselves. Now, yes, there are times where Satan will put these crazy things into our minds to slow us down, to put us away from God, which is very bad. More than that, I feel, is when God puts something in our mind. Now, a lot of things come from a human standpoint. You never know. God can tell you quit your job, or Satan could tell you quit your job. both have their reasons. Satan's intention is to destroy your life. You no longer have money. You no longer have the ability to do these things to make you happy. Therefore, you fall from grace. But when it comes from God and he says, quit your job, what if he said, quit your job? Because now you just got an opportunity to work here or there. It's this giant dilemma that we have, and that is, I believe, one of the biggest reasons why we do not listen to what God has to say to us, because Satan has said so many bad things to us before. People, no one's perfect, and there are so many stories from people that I think that we could look at them and go, these are perfect Christians, but their stories are so twisted and sick 10 years before. Alcoholics, drug addicts, a former murderer, all these things to happen that no one expects. This person will turn into a Christian. When Gary goes back to his hometown, and he says, I'm a pastor, or a youth pastor now, they're surprised, they're shocked. They probably laugh at him because they're thinking you're lying and that's a funny joke. Because you were the greatest alcoholic. You could down 15 beers in an hour. No problem. But what happens is our fear should not be the reason why we choose not to listen to God. We need to respond to the things that God says to us in our mind, heart, and soul through visions or audibly speaking or through our own voice that we don't expect to say. We are called to respond to him, to expand the kingdom, and to bring greatness to his throne. Back to when I was at SEU, we were there during our time, and there was some great speakers. Actually, one speaker really, but all of it was just a great experience. Everything was extremely centered on Christ, and I kind of right then and there I knew that that was not a thing from Satan. Obviously, there's a lot of time you doubt things that we've done in our past. How many of us have laid in our bed at 3 a.m. thinking of some dumb thing we did 6 years ago? We've all done it, and it means nothing. No one remembers what you did 6 years ago. It's just you that remembers that dumb decision you did. And there's those things where if you look back at 3 a.m. at what you did 6 years ago, that's something Satan put in your mind. But because then we're sitting on our bed at 3 a.m. filled with guilt and pain from what we did. But if we think, wow, if this didn't happen, life would be so much different and worse. When I was younger, 2015. December 29th, 2015. I had someone very important in my life pass away from me. I considered him like a father. His name was Corey. And you look back, and I thought that was Satan. But I think it's the voice of God speaking, because he took away something that I saw as a father for me to find the true father. You know what I mean? It was a hard time, and it was a tough time. But I made my mother cry because this is not on the script that I gave them. But all these different things of pain that we see as bad and by Satan was by God. And we just need to have more trust in what he says. And going back to the speechless moments, that's what it was. It made what me at the age of, let me do quick math, 2020, 15, 17, 16. I don't know how old I was, 12, 13-ish, when that happened. And it says that make a grown man cry. I thought I was a man. I thought I was a grown man. And I was not, because it really brought me down. But obviously things in life get better. Without that, probably would not have left Parkview, which I feel like, no hate towards Parkview, but to how things were in my connections there, I would have been left at a dead end and nothing would have happened in my life. But because of that, I eventually came here with Gary to PCBC and managed to grow my faith here, enjoy worship. I did not know a single instrument when I came here, but things have advanced, and now I play guitar, piano, drums. I sing. I don't feel like I'm a good singer, but I sing. And it's led to many opportunities. I now help worship at Encounter, which is a youth group that I go to on the side so I can get filled, so before I am able to fill others. And I was actually given the opportunity and asked if I would like to drum, which is going to be really nice. But nonetheless, all these things to advance our lives were never planned. We always set up a timeline of what we're doing in our future, years ahead, and we never do what we said we're gonna do. Once again, with me saying I'm gonna go to Hillsong, and I had this whole giant plan, and it got broken by 2 words. 2 words? Yes, financial aid. I broken by 2 words because they don't have any at Hillsong. And then I found SEU, which I feel like is going to be a way better experience to bring me up as a Christian, as a worship leader, because I will be spending the next 4, or if I have the opportunity to go for a higher degree, 4, 5, 6, I don't know how many years, with like-minded people, to grow as Christians. And I feel like it's a nice thing for us to do. God told me, in a way, spend more time with like-minded people, like-minded Christians. I saw this one post on Instagram talking about how if you're in a group of 6 and there are 5 athletes and there's 1 non-athlete, that person will become an athlete. If you're in a group of 5 drinkers and 1 drinker, you will become a drinker. It's all that. But if you're in a group of 5 Christians and you're a non-Christian, you're going to become a Christian. Somehow, some way, somehow, you will. And that's what happens if you spend your time with like-minded people. God's voice truly shines, because now you're not hearing God's voice as just your own voice. You're hearing God's voice as others' voices. People who believe and decide every morning, I'm going to do the right thing for God, with God. So with all that, in which this did not mean the time that I expected it to meet, let us pray. God, I pray for everyone in this room. I pray for our ears to be open to listen to what God says, for us to respond to what he says, to feel the love, to acknowledge everything, to greaten our life, and to expand everything we do for the glory of your kingdom. Pray for Gary as he has been going through many different things, but I believe he has heard from the voice of God to tell him, you need to take care of your family, your biological family, and still be there for your church family. I believe he'll be back, better than ever, with a love and a fire, and through this whole weird time, I believe Gary will actually come with more time to set up his sermons, to have a way powerful and way stronger message for us. And I want to thank you for that, because I believe that is something that we need within this youth, a powerful sermon whenever Gary speaks, because everything was planned for the youth individually, with everything that goes on within those times, during this dark time that we have, to listen to God's voice, to actually understand what he says, so we can further his kingdom and bring glory to it. For us to be able to change our lives before we change other lives. Not by us forcing ourselves to change our lives, but for God to change our lives. And I pray for everyone to just truly become an adolescent in God's eyes, like he does see us, and to understand that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and that we can speak to him and desire to hear from him because he does want to speak to us. We need to understand in those speechless moments, in those hard times, that God's voice is there and he is speaking to us, and that it is time for us to respond to his call. Amen. That was fun.
You did? Amen and amen. All right, so let's give it up for Nathan. Now, just want you guys to know that a lot of that was not on his message, so that was God working through him for you guys. Like, somebody here needed to hear what he had to say. So, and he's not lying. I was crying back there going, yeah, not good, not good. But, so, oh, by the way, I'm sporting SCU gear. That's right, SCU Mom. You look at my car, it says SCU Mom 2021. Anyway, so as far as him going to Hillsong, that is totally true. He had it set in his mind that's where he was going to go, but he wanted to actually go to Australia. And I was like, I don't have Hillsong Australia money, especially since they do not have financial aid. Then we're like, okay, well, Phoenix, Arizona
does not have financial aid.
Well, maybe they'll have financial aid because it's in the States. Nope. Mm-mm.
But it's ran by Australians.
Yeah.
In Australia.
So then we were like, we prayed about it, and then it's like you said, we came across SCU, and he was just watching their sermons and listening to the word. And what got him was the music. Like, how Gary always says, the music's what got me in. Well, it's true for especially for a lot of youth, a lot of teenagers, a lot of college kids. The worship music is what brings you in. Your church, your community, not the building, the community is what keeps you there, okay? Using the Spirit of God. So that's when he decided he wanted to go to SCU, and, we went and saw it, and like he said, he lied. He didn't even say it when we got to the hotel. We were like getting our ride to the car saying, I'm coming back. Okay, well, when are we coming back? You need to go, you need to go in, you need to see when they're having another one-day visit. And he was like, oh, we're coming back. We're going back this day, and we're going back this day. And by the way, we need to contact my friend because he's going to come with me. We're going to get him connected with the coach. So, yes, we did sneak back on campus on Saturday.
We had a friend. We're fine.
Yeah, it was fine. We spoke with one of the counselors, and
Wayne.
He said to get him to fill out his application, just submit it. They'll connect him with the coach, and when we go back in April
for him.
Yeah, he'll be able to go on the field with the coach and other players, and I'm hoping we can possibly get him into SCU because he does need it. A lot of you guys were here for the lock-in when Nathan got the message that one of his best friend's father passed away. He died of he had a heart condition. He died of complications due to COVID. He was in the hospital for 56 days, and the day of the lock-in is the day he passed away. So we're just trying to get him connected and plugged. I'm trying to, mentor the mom and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
So one thing that drew me in with the worship at SCU was they write the songs for students by the students. I think they only have 2 people within that band that are not actual students, and that is technically a professor. His name's Dan Rivera. He is the leader of the main band, and they were actually recording the new album while I was there, and on the campus, and yeah.
Now, you said he lied about something. What? He didn't wait till he got back to the hotel.
He was in the car saying, we're going back. We're
No. I didn't put in the thing until we're at the hotel.
And let's set the record straight. Not 15 an hour, maybe 4 or 5 an hour. What? But it was only on Saturday night, so I was not an alcoholic. But great job.
Okay, it was
great job. I
an
was
example.
definitely not living the life of a Christian. Excellent job, though. Good message. Next week, we have our Super Bowl party. So for those of you joining us online, we will not be live next Sunday. We'll be here watching the Super Bowl. I know some of you don't really care about the game.
Who do you got?
Do like you do in years past and bring games that you want to play. I will be here at 4:30.
Stay away from us.
So you can get here at 4:30 if you want for some of the pregame stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The game
Did
will
you mute
last
me?
until about 10 o'clock. I'm okay if your parents pick you up about the time the game ends. So that's up to you and your parents, how long you want to stay. We will be, everybody bring in something to share food-wise. It will be served by leaders. With all the COVID stuff, we're not going to have everybody just digging in. All right? So you'll have to request what you want.
Yep.
DJ, you got a question?
I think Vern and my mom.
Yeah, Yvette and Veronica.
Why? And they meant adult leaders.
So next week we'll have our Super Bowl party. I know on the 14th, Taylor is going to do a message.
Yay.
Which she came to me 2 or 3 weeks ago now on a Sunday morning and asked if she could do one.
What's it on?
And then February 21st, I know Jonathan is going to do the message.
You missed all of it, Vern.
And then...
I
then
was joking. I knew you were driving from across the state. No!
My plan is to do the message on the 28th, and I'll do the 7th. I still am looking for somebody to do a message on March 14th. That's the day before we go to Lake Swan. All right? So if anybody else wants to do a message, let me know. Because Mr. Dave's already over there. Oh, come on, somebody, because he knows I'll go to him.
Yes. Oh, no.
That's his birthday.
Guys, someone take one.
Somebody needs to
do a sermon. Vern, I'm joking. Mom, you're doing a sermon now. Let Dave enjoy his birthday. I'll run the soundboard.
So, yeah, we got time, but if anybody else wants to do a message, let me know. And to make things clear, I'm not going away. I'm still going to be here and be involved. I'm just handing over the lead to others. And there's some Sundays every other week, like today was a working day for me, but I quit early. Some days on Sunday I may have to work until 6:30, and then I'll be in for the last part anyways. All right? So those of you joining us online, we'll see you in 2 weeks for Taylor's message, and I know it's on prayer. All right?